Well, you talked a little bit about the clinical trials that are going on at UC Davis. How have they or have they not had to adapt during this time? Because I know a lot of areas around the country, and again, dependent on where you are, have had to close down and or stop some of the research and clinical trials that they're doing due to the virus.
Oncology is probably the most engaged in clinical trials of any specialty. And it's only through clinical trials that we find better therapies, new therapies, ways to handle these situations when the cancer becomes resistant. And these days, it doesn't matter whether the trial is a phase 3 trial or a phase 1 trial. It is quite likely to be beneficial to that patient. So, how do we do that in the time of COVID? Well, if you're so overwhelmed with patients in the ICU, one New York hospital last week said they had 500 patients in their hospital with COVID associated problems. It's very difficult for them to say, we're going to go ahead and do clinical trials just like we always did. Their clinical research associates, the people that do the work for the clinical trials, often have been taken off those duties and applied to COVID testing, or they've been even declared non-essential, not at UC Davis, but some other places. So it's complicated. At UC Davis, we've been very fortunate in that we have not had to close any trials, and we have continued to accrue just the way we've always done. But both the National Cancer Institute and the FDA have made it easier. One of those things is allowing video visits. If you're a patient and you're listening to this, you'll know that on a clinical trial, for your safety, we have to do closer monitoring, maybe more frequent visits. The FDA and the NCI, the National Cancer Institute, have said, Dan, this is an extraordinary situation. We will allow video visits if it's a routine visit, because that allows the patient to continue to get a clinical trial or maybe to go on a clinical trial. If we required those face-to-face visits, it wouldn't happen. Even video consenting. So again, if you're a patient on this YouTube now, you know that you had to go through an informed consent process and physically sign an informed consent to allow you to go on a clinical trial. We can now do that by video consenting, where someone, the physician, the CRC, is on the line with you, talking to you, maybe Zoom face to face, and going over the document with you. You have either an electronic or a hard copy, which has been provided to you ahead of time. You provide an electronic signature. That's so important. Many patients said, this trial, I know it's the right thing for me to do. I don't want to have to come in or maybe come 200 miles just to sign a form. So now we don't have to do that. And the central IRB for the National Cancer Institute has also authorized this. Now, if it's an industry-sponsored trial by one of the companies that makes new cancer drugs, some of them are allowing these things. Some of them say no. And some of them have shut down the trials in midstream. They say, we don't feel it's safe to accrue more patients. I think that depends on the situation. Again, in California, especially Northern California, I think we're fortunate in that we're able to do clinical trials with some modifications and continue to offer them to patients.